This episode of Nerdist News is sponsored by Borderlands 3. Kevin Feige reveals the details of Marvel's Phase 5. San Diego Comic-Con 2019 has come and gone, and while most of us are dealing with that one Comic-Con exclusive that everyone gets, the dreaded Con Crud, that's not stopping the news from continuing to fly hot off the presses. While we did learn a ton about the future of Star Trek, Westworld, Watchmen, Rick and Morty, and countless other franchises, it's quite possible that the Marvel Cinematic Universe had one of their biggest nights ever when they presented on Saturday. After their noted absence from the venerated Hall H last year, fans weren't sure what they were going to get when Marvel Studios head honcho Kevin Feige took to the stage to announce that Endgame has surpassed Avatar to become the world's highest grossing film ever. Now that Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home wrapped a bow on Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where do they go from here? Luckily, the panel was surprisingly forthcoming, with lots of announcements for the big and small screens for Phase 4 of the MCU with the Eternals movie, the Falcon and Bucky show, Shang-Chi the movie, the Scarlet Witch TV show, the Loki TV show, Doctor Strange 2, a What If series, a Hawkeye series, Thor 4, and a Black Widow solo film. And that was just Phase 4. Of course, if all that wasn't enough, Feige also laid out a roadmap for Phase 5, and guess what? We're gonna break it all down right now.
Assemble.
While he was still on stage, Feige gave fans a light hint at what was to come next down the pipeline for the MCU. Everything from Blade and the Mutants to Black Panther 2 and the Fantastic Four. But it was when he met with us and our pop culture peers that we got some real answers. First off, the sequels. Feige confirmed that we are getting a Black Panther 2 and a Captain Marvel 2 that will most likely be a part of Phase 5. While sequels to those films were all but guaranteed by their stellar performances at the box office, it's good to know when we can expect them to grace the big screens again. And of course, we can't forget that Guardians Volume 3 will still be happening after James Gunn finishes up Suicide Squad for DC. One of the juiciest tidbits at the panel that we couldn't wait to hear more about was the mention of projects in the works involving mutants and the Fantastic Four. While we were pulling for the FF to appear in Phase 4 so that it could be called Fantastic Phase 4, we're just glad for the prospect to see Marvel's first family in the MCU proper, and we'll take what we can get.
That's what I'm talking about. Pretty nice.
As for that other buzzword, mutants, it seems like the X-Men and company are only getting the smallest of breathers before being rebooted into the MCU. Regarding the mutants, Kevin Feige told IGN, "Whatever we do will be quite different than what's been done before." And for all you people worried about the apparent lack of Deadpool, don't you fear, Kevin Feige has the Merc with the Mouth's back. According to our press line scoopster, producer Steven, Kevin Feige groups Deadpool in with the mutants.
I did mention mutants on the way. I put Deadpool in that category.
And honestly, who could be better to make it less awkward to introduce the X-Men to the Avengers other than Deadpool? While the panel seemed full of mic drops, one moment that ended the Newsapalooza was the reveal that Mahershala Ali would play the half-vampire Blade. And when Collider caught up with Feige, he told them that Blade will be a part of Phase 5 instead of Phase 4. However, with all of these announcements, many fans were wondering about the lack of Avengers news. Obviously, their lineup got shaken up during the events of Endgame with the loss of Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff, and with Steve Rogers taking an 80-year siesta. Luckily for fans everywhere, the folks over at MTV News got Feige to admit that he does indeed know what the next Avengers team lineup will be, and it will be a very different team than we've seen before, adding, it will be a very different incarnation of the team with some people you've already met and some people you haven't met yet. If we take what we know so far about the upcoming slate as well as the current state of the MCU, it's safe to assume that the next Avengers might make a team from the pool of Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Sam as the new Captain America, Bucky, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, the Wasp, and Scarlet Witch. Also revealing that the team will be very different puts a couple of different scenarios out there. Could this new team include members of the X-Men or the Fantastic Four? There have been several crossover characters in the books: Wolverine, The Thing, Beast. Also, this is an opportunity to have characters from the upcoming Marvel series on Disney Plus, like Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series that was announced, crossover onto the big screen. Fans had been hoping for there to be more synergy between the TV side and the film side of Marvel, and Disney Plus seems to be the answer to that. It may feel like talking about Phase 5 before Black Widow, the first film of Phase 4, even comes out in May of 2020 might be a bit hasty, but Phase 5 is creeping up quicker than it seems. The 10 projects announced for Phase 4 bring us through the end of 2021, a mere 2 years away. Barring surprise announcements of films or TV projects that extend beyond that, a possibility according to Feige, we could see Phase 5 of the MCU start in 2022. We'll just have to wait and see. But what do you folks think? What possible Phase 5 film are you most excited for? Do you think we could finally see Marvel TV and Marvel Films crossover characters? And who do you want to be on the next Avengers team? Let's discuss. Thanks again to Borderlands 3 for sponsoring today's episode. The original shooter looter is back and bigger than ever. With 4 all-new Vault Hunters and over 1 billion guns, it's time to lock, load, and loot. Pre-order Borderlands 3 now so you can play when it drops on Xbox One, PS4, or PC on September 13th. Let's make some mayhem.